Guys, take a look at this. What's up, little buddy? What's up, buddy? You just chilling? Hey, what's up guys? I'm Jake the Lawn Kid coming back to you guys with yet another video. Welcome to the 2016 lawn season. So let's talk about what's going to be filling up today and probably the next couple weeks or so. So you guys probably don't know this, but I've been having some problems with my lawn. It has to do with these two spots here, almost the whole entirety of this parkway, and this little side yard just completely wiped out. Same thing in the back too. I'm going to have to cut it today. But really the problem back here has to do with a lot of inconsistency. Like you see this down here, I'm walking in like a bunch of thick grass, but as we come down here, there's like thick spots, thin spots, thick spots, thin spots. So the problem I've been having has to do with something that's going on with the root growth. You see, this winter we've had nothing but almost a foot of snow, and we got about 2 snowstorms this year, and somehow it was strong enough to thin out this entire area, plus a lot of foot traffic. In the next couple weeks I decided I'm going to go ahead and walk you through a complete rehab program to show you how to bring these spots back to normal, because I know some of you guys out there too deal with the same problem. I'm going to show you the whole program on how you can fix this exact problem. Anyway, back to the video. I've been having a problem with my mower for quite a while now. It has to do with the, well, let me just show you. Okay, so here's the problem. You see this traction port right here? It has a cable that'll allow wheels to move. Here's the other end of that exact wire. You see what happened to it? The metal end of it snapped. This part started to untangle, just leaving you with this terrible mess here. So I thought this was the first thing I would tackle. You see, because I need this mower for my business, which I'll be starting up very soon in a little bit, and also it's too early to really do any fertilizing treatment, so I can't do any of that yet. This is the very first thing we're going to tackle today. Here it is, step by step. How to fix it. Okay, so before we begin, let's get the materials together that we're going to need throughout this process. So first you're going to need your mower, your recommended mower part, and as you can see I got this one from my dealer, and yep, only got it for 18 bucks. You're going to need a ratchet, a size 13, some loosening pliers, a couple size 13 wrenches, here's what they look like, and if you don't happen to have any 13s, an all-purpose wrench would be just fine for that too. So once you have all the materials you're going to need, now it's time to get started. Before you do any of this, I highly recommend removing your spark plug. When it comes to doing any DIY project, it's always best to be safe and always avoid any fatalities. One thing you may notice here is this spark plug hasn't been changed in quite a long time. So don't get on me about it because I already know about it, okay? So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to remove the old cable. So the wire here is located right here near the handlebar. What you're going to see is there's going to be a bolt here. We're going to go ahead and use our all-purpose wrench, loosen this out. Once we get this out, there's going to be a little washer. You want to make sure you save those pieces. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to tip the mower over, because as you can see, the other end of the cable is not as easy to access as you think. We actually have to do a little bit of wrenching to get to it. So if there's any piece of advice I could give you about this simple thing, it's just make sure that the gas tank is on top. Because you don't want to deal with any spillage or anything like that, so that's why you tip it on top, just to avoid any leakage or anything like that. So I want to let you guys know something here. So this here, this is not supposed to come off. I want you guys to keep that in mind. What actually is going to happen is you're going to have two nails right here, actually two bolts, and then you're going to kind of turn around it to loosen up back here, and that's how you get to the cable. That's not all there is. There's actually a couple more. There's one right here. To be honest, it looks really tricky to get to there. I know it looks tricky, but it's really not. There's actually a little pin down here. Just in case you guys forget, you need to remove this bolt right here to remove this circle. I just wanted to point that out there to most of you guys who think that's a really tricky spot to get to, but really it's not. So yeah, there's not really much to it except trying to get this bolt out, which can be a little bit of a challenge, which requires 2 wrenches for holding one side and one for twisting the other. Make sure you get a tight grip on that, otherwise you're going to have a really hard time trying to get that out. And then you're going to do the same for the other sides as well. So I did discover that this frame piece, or whatever it's called, is pretty hard to remove with your hands. So then I decided to do it in a way that's a little disruptive, still a lot of fun, but gets it out a lot quicker than it does by hand. Okay, we're all done with pretty much ripping the mower apart. Now it's time to put it back together. Okay, so we got it flipped over now. So, as you'll see, when I was talking about earlier with the piece, how it was a little complicated to get off, well, this is the next part. You just got to take this little thing off, revealing where the old cable resides. Okay, so this part may seem a little tricky at first because you see the cable here is kind of wounded through the metal. So it looks like, oh my god, now I'm going to have to cut it in half. Well, the truth is, no you don't. There's actually these 2 linkage pieces that you have to squeeze together on both sides in order to get them out on one open side. And that's impossible to do with both of your hands. So this is where your loosening pliers come in handy. You have your loosening pliers on one side and your hand on the other, and it'll snap out. No problem, just a piece of cake. Okay, so from here it's pretty much doing everything we just did except doing it backwards, putting the whole thing back together. So the first thing we're going to do obviously is put the cable back on. So we're going to do it the exact same way we finished off. We're going to hook it back, and then you're going to have this linkage piece. You're going to go ahead and get that attached, and then you're going to run it up to the handlebars, and then you need to get your thing set up here before you tighten it back. And before you tighten it, you need to get it linked with the handlebar. There's going to be this little double L-shaped thing at the top. You're going to want to link that to the handlebar handle at the top. And you're not going to tighten that until you get it lined up to a point where the handle can move freely. Oh, but we're not done just yet. We still got to put that black plastic piece back on. And that requires a little bit. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to line the thing up from the inside. We're going to tighten the bolts down. Now it's time to put this frame thing back on. So it's not as complicated as it was earlier. All you're going to do is you're going to hammer it back in. Then you're going to tighten the bolts to that. And then boom, time to test it out. Success! little bit of time, but finally got it. A successful cable replace.